Do you believe in prophecies and predictions? As you probably already know, Pope Francis passed away the day after Easter. May he rest in peace. And apparently, there's a prophecy about the Pope's passing, and people online are all talking about it. All of this is just for educational, entertainment, and conversational purposes only.
We just learned Pope Francis has died. It comes just one day after he surprised the faithful with an appearance on Easter Sunday. The Vatican made the announcement, ending an often turbulent reign marked by division and tension as he sought to overhaul the hidebound institution. Nora O'Donnell has a look at his life and legacy.
The Holy Father set the tone with his first official act as Pope, reversing a centuries-old tradition. I want to ask you a favor, he said. Before the bishop blesses the people, I ask that you would pray to the Lord to bless me. He named himself after Francis of Assisi, a saint known for his simplicity and humility. The first pope to hail from the Americas, the first Jesuit pope said he wanted a poorer church, one that would include the excluded, rather than living in the lavish papal apartments where popes have lived for hundreds of years. He set an example by choosing to live at the Santa Marta, a simple guest house on Vatican grounds.
What an honor.
That's where we met him in April 2024. His desire to reach out to ordinary people sent the bulletproof Pope-mobiles into storage. I cannot greet people from inside a sardine can, Francis famously explained, even if it is made of glass. He'd become one of the most popular public figures in the world, regularly speaking up for the voiceless and leading by example, whether dining with the homeless, washing prisoners' feet, or providing a home in Italy for migrants and refugees fleeing lands torn by war or economic instability.
Well, there's a lot of things I didn't know about him.
Does the passing of Pope Francis signal the end of days? Two separate prophecies written by two separate individuals separated by hundreds of years seem to align and say that the passing of Pope Francis may trigger the end of days. Prepare to have your pooper puckered. I'm going to blow your mind. Here we go. So in the 12th century, St. Malachi is summoned to Rome. While in Rome, he has a series of visions. One of those visions is basically there's going to be a set number of popes from this day forward, and upon the passing of the last pope, a dark figure or a dark pope will rise, triggering the downfall of the city of the Seven Hills. Many people think that the city of the Seven Hills is a reference to Rome. Okay, that's in the 12th century. Now in the 16th century, Notre Dame also records his quatrains, and in his quatrains, one of those says that upon the passing of an elderly pontiff, a dark force or a dark pope will rise, and it will also trigger the downfall of the city of the Seven Hills. Now, let's go back to Malachi. Malachi's prophecies, what they refer to as the prophecies of the Pope, were written down, and then they were sealed away in the Vatican's secret vault. They did not surface again until 1590, and they were not published until 1595 when a Benedictine monk published them. Notre Dame wrote his quatrains in 1555. So it could be argued that Notre Dame was not aware of St. Malachi's predictions because, again, they were being hidden in the Vatican's secret vault.
Okay.
Both Malachi and Notre Dame reference Peter the Roman as the last pope. Now, popes kind of pick their own names, and so we don't know who this new pope, what he will be titled, whether he will take the name of Peter the Roman. I probably wouldn't pick that if I were you, but
Okay, right.
that's just me. Now, take those two predictions and couple that with everything we see going on globally.
There's supposed to be another one.
All the unrest, all of the disagreements going on between the world leaders. Could it be that we are starting to see the downfall? I don't know. It's kind of spooky though, right? I'm just saying. But should you listen to me? Absolutely not. Is anything really going to happen? Probably not. I'm a crazy person on TikTok. You shouldn't listen to anything I say. But it is interesting that you have these two prophecies separated by hundreds of years that seem to say the same thing. And we've just witnessed the triggering event. Be prepared. But don't be weird about it. But if you are going to be weird, be fun weird, be cool weird. The world needs weird people.
Okay, now, do you think the end of the world will be like a one single event, like an asteroid destroying everything on Earth all at once? Or do you think it might be a series of events that eventually lead to it? And maybe it's already started, because it definitely looks like it. Just saying, just asking.
The Pope has just passed away, but something bigger is happening. behind the scenes. So this moment is making global headlines, but while people are mourning the death of Pope Francis, there's an ancient legend that's resurfacing that few people are talking about.
Legend, not a prophecy.
Outside the walls in Rome, deep within the Basilica of St. Paul, there's a long hall of mosaic portraits. So this is not just a fine art gallery. This is a painting, a portrait of every pope that has ever been in position. But here's the part you're not going to believe. So Pope Francis's face was added years ago, but now that he's passed, there's only one space left. That's right. There's one blank space remaining for the next pope.
One more. Okay.
And so this is the ancient legend. Could this next pope be the last pope ever? Some people speculate this is just tradition. Other people say that it could be prophecy.
Tradition.
So for centuries, people have talked about the final pope in the Catholic circles and prophetic circles. So could we be seeing this unfold right now?
We could.
Could this final pope
I don't know.
be the countdown to the end? Could this be the last pope ever? So what do you think? Is this just a coincidence? But we know that we're living in the book of Revelation right now. Comment below if you think that this is the last pope. Make sure you click follow right now.
Yeah. What do you think? This is eerie.
So the Pope died on Easter Monday. There was a saint in the 12th century who said this would be the last Pope. Yeah. He said exactly how many popes there was going to be, and Pope Francis is supposed to be the last before Armageddon. In a book called
This one is
Prophecy
supposed
of
to be the
Popes in
last.
1139, St. Malachi, during his trip to Rome, claimed to receive a vision of the future, including the name of every pope from that moment until the end of days. He shared details of 109 future popes and said in the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church there will be reigning Peter the Roman, who will feed his flock amid many tribulations, after which the seven-hilled city will be destroyed and the dreadful judge will judge the people. The end. And apparently his prophecies have come true on a lot of these popes. The first pope on the list would be from a castle on the Tiber, and he was actually born in Tuscany on the shores of Tiber River. Predicted another pope would be elevated from a hermit, and Nicholas IV, pope from 1288 to 1292, was a hermit in the monastery. He said the 45th pope in the prophecy is described as coming from the hell of Prignani, and he actually was born in Domenico Prignano. St. Malachi said that the last pope before this one that just died, Pope John Paul II, and remember, this is in the 1100s that he predicted this, he said that Pope John Paul II would be of the eclipse of the sun. John Paul II was born on May 18th, 1920, during a solar eclipse. His funeral was also during a solar eclipse that was visible from the States. So this is just one prophecy of one dude, right? I mean, he couldn't mean... He was in the medieval times. He didn't know anything.
I'm kind of getting a little bit concerned. Yeah, concerned listening to these people.
Holy shit. People are losing it. So Pope Francis has been laid in an open casket for people to go and pay their respects. But people are starting to get really worried, and there's a scary reason why. So there is a 900-year-old manuscript, and this is buried deep in the Vatican archives. And this archive has successfully predicted every single pope in 900 years, including this one in our time. However, this is where shit gets crazy. There is no pope after Pope Francis. In fact, what it says in the manuscript is after Pope Francis is Judgment Day. It actually indicates that the end of the world would be 2027. So people are starting to think 2027 will be the apocalypse. People are starting to speculate that whoever steps in as the new pope will be the start of the end of the world. I personally don't know how I feel about it, but it's fucking weird. Could 2027
Scary.
be it?
So wait a minute. Some people say that there will be another pope, and some people say that there won't be another one, or there will be another one, but he will be the start of the end, the beginning of the end. Interestingly, she said that 2027 might be the end of the world. Did you know that scientists discovered an asteroid that is supposed to hit Earth in 2032, if I'm not mistaken? But what if it hits the Earth earlier, let's say in 2027? What if they did not calculate it right? It's pretty big, and some scientists say that it might cause quite a bit of damage. So this might just be it. I don't know, I don't want to believe it, but all of this just sounds too crazy, and there's just too many coincidences, don't you think?
Have you guys seen this new guy in the streets? He's popped up all over my feed. Abba el-Sadiq, the Black Pope. He just proclaimed himself as the new Pope. Hey, what's up? How you doing? The Mahdi, the guided one, is a messianic figure who will appear at the end of days. And I say an absolute false prophet, which would fall in line with the beast. He proclaimed he was sent to you by Jesus Christ himself. So let's break it down, because I love a good conspiracy theory. So, the prophecy of Pope, St. Malachi. So, in the 12th century, he wrote a list of 112 popes, describing each in a short phrase. The last one is St. Peter the Roman, who will feed his sheep during many tribulations, and the Rome will fall, and the world will end.
So
After Pope Francis, the 111th Pope, there was not supposed to be another true Pope. Only the final one connected to the end times. Abba el-Sadiq fits this bill because he is rising right after Pope Francis died. He calls himself a pope without Vatican authority, which matches a false prophet successor. He calls for obedience during tribulations and world chaos. Now let's go into what Nostradamus says, because he's my favorite. The Black Pope. Nostradamus warned there would be a Black Pope, a dark figure rising in the church during a time of destruction. I mean, what the hell's going on in the world? Everything is falling apart as far as I'm concerned. Maybe not to you, but to me. In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there would sit Peter the Roman. He will pasture his sheep in many tribulations. And when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills, Rome, will be destroyed. Abba el-Sadiq fits the bill because he wears all black, hats, pants, the whole 9 yards. Look at him. Like the Black Pope.
So
He's
creepy.
outside normal Vatican control. He attacks Paul, one of the founders of Christianity, calling him false, setting it up for religious rebellion. Nostradamus said Rome would collapse after this figure shows up, and he's showing up right now. Now, the book of Revelations, the false prophet. In Revelation 13, it says a second beast, the false prophet, tries to rise and support the first beast, the Antichrist. Now, we all know who I think that is. The false prophet looks holy, but speaks like a dragon, meaning he looks religious, but spreads destruction. He leads people to worship the beast. Abba el-Sadiq fits this bill because he pretends to speak for Christ and the Mahdi, blending religions in a fake way. He rejects the Bible, calling Paul false, and wants total control. He's already said, you must obey me. He's not actually pointing to the people of God. He's setting himself up as an authority.
I have the chills.
And the Islamic Mahdi prophecies.
What the heck?
In Islam, the Mahdi is a figure who appears at the end of times to restore justice. But there's also an imposter Mahdi in some versions. False Messiah appears before the real one. Some Islamic cultures warn that a fake Mahdi could appear first to confuse people. Abba el-Sadiq fits the bill because he says he's sent by the Mahdi, but no major Muslim authority has recognized him. Why? He ties himself to both Islam and Christianity in a weird hybrid, just like how false messiahs are predicted to behave. So, Abba el-Sadiq is not just some weirdo. He matches the exact details from Christian, Catholic, and Islamic end-time prophecies. He showed up right after the true Pope died, like, hello, I'm here. He wears all black. He claims to speak for Christian and the Mahdi, twisting both religions to suit himself. He demands obedience and rejects St. Paul, which attacks the very foundation of Christianity. 100% prototype, false prophet, Black Pope, henchman of the beast, 1,000,000,000%.
Well, he looks creepy and all of this sounds weird, and my only question is, are there actually people who follow him and listen to him? That's kinda interesting. Because it feels like he won't have that many followers. I don't know. Weird.
Here's something terrifying. The Prophecy of the Popes.
Oh boy.
This book was found in the Vatican archives. Predicted every single pope from 1143 all the way to our current pope. But the scary thing is, after Pope Francis, the last one, it just says in Judgment Day.
Oh gosh.
It literally ends after Pope Francis?
Yes. The creepiest thing that I
There's
saw
supposed to be another
inside
one.
St. Paul's Basilica, bordering the whole inner sanctuary, is every single pope. But what's weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers to where you could put a picture. There's one left after Pope Francis. They have always said that once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. What he predicted and the time it took to go from the first pope that he wrote about halfway mark was 422 years. And he's saying from the middle one to the end, another 422 years will be the end of the world. If you do 422 from the middle pope, which was 1585, that year is 2027.
Dang!
It's even weirder. Pope John the 23rd, he said that the end of the world would happen 2,000 years plus Christ's life.
Did you know that when a pope passes away, one of the most ancient traditions of the Catholic Church is set into motion? The Vatican enters a period known as sede vacante, which means the chair of St. Peter is unoccupied. During this time, the entire church enters mourning. The official declaration of the Pope's death is delivered by the Dean of the College of Cardinals. Then, a powerful symbolic act takes place. The fisherman's ring, the ultimate emblem of papal authority, is ceremonially destroyed with a hammer. This act prevents forgery and signals the definitive end of the Pope's reign. His body is dressed in sacred vestments and placed on display in St. Peter's Basilica for 9 days of public mourning. Daily masses are celebrated in his memory. Dignitaries, clergy, and the faithful from around the globe come to pay their final respects. The Pope is laid to rest in 3 coffins, one of cypress, another of sealed lead, and a third of oak. His tomb is typically found in the Vatican grottos beneath St. Peter's Basilica. It is a farewell not just to a man, but to a spiritual era that shaped the course of millions.
Okay, this is freaking me out. It is. And a lot of things about the church freak me out. But this is really scary looking to me. This is just my opinion. But it's weird. It just seems weird.
Looks really weird.
Like they're glowing staffs and the hoods.
That's how it goes.
Like, what is going on? It's weird. That's me. I know it's tradition, but it's freaking me out. It's scary.
What kind of tradition is that? It's scary. Another clip. Satanic ritual. The music, all of this, it's just... That's not it. Okay, wait a minute. I just read that a lot of people say that this is not true. This is not in Vatican. It doesn't take place in Vatican. It takes place in Spain. And this is some kind of tradition. They're doing something, but this is not the Pope's funeral. So I guess it's not true. But I've seen this clip circulating online a lot. So I guess this is not true because it does look weird. Okay, and this literally happened yesterday. And some people speculate, though it's all just a speculation, that this could be the beginning of the end. Let's watch.
There's major breaking news today, April 28th, coming out of Europe that is not being reported. I have not seen it reported anywhere here in the United States. There is a very, very large-scale power outage currently happening in Spain, Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula, parts of France, and that's what's being reported so far. However, we don't really grasp the totality of how far this power outage is reaching because communications are so poor from these countries right now. And it's not just like power and traffic lights in the power grid. Airplanes and subway and metro is down. Banks are down. Well water cannot be pumped because it goes off of electric. And even some people are reporting that their generators that they privately own are not working. It sounds like, although the cause of this is unknown, that government officials are reporting that it's not a cyber attack. However, with the privately owned generators also being down, a lot of people in these areas are alluding to it possibly being some type of EMP attack. I'm going to keep an eye on this and continue to report it because I'm just so flabbergasted that this is just not being reported here in the Americas. This is a super big deal. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think this may possibly be. And as updates become available, I will keep you guys informed. I am praying for everybody in these affected areas currently.
I have no idea what happened, but it's just so super weird to me because it's not just like one city. It's 2 whole countries and part of the third one. It's too big of an area that was impacted. I don't know. What do you think?
Breaking news, millions of people in Spain, Portugal, and parts of France are without power because of an unknown grid issue. Authorities are asking people to stay at home and stay off the roads while emergency generators are being put in place.
I just want to ask you about this idea of atmospheric fluctuations, which you mentioned as being suggested as possibly behind this. Can you explain if you've heard that before when you talk about power blackouts and how that would work if indeed it does turn out to be the cause of this?
I will confess to being mystified by that particular comment. I don't, especially since, as I said, unless I'm missing something, it was actually quite a mild day in Spain, and it was middle of the day, so demand was probably relatively modest. I know there were reports of fires in the south of France, for instance, that were near transmission facilities. Maybe that has something to do with it. But, you know, it is quite often extreme weather that causes these sorts of transmission failures. That's what happened in South Australia in 2016 when they had a system black event. A very violent storm took down some transmission towers, which then caused a number of generators to go offline.
A number, but
which
not all of
caused
them.
the overall South Australia grid to collapse. I'm not aware of any extreme weather events that took place in Spain today, or in Portugal, or in the south of France. So, I'm at a loss to explain this, and I suspect even the system operators themselves.
So weird. Not a cyber attack. It's not connected to the weather. Like, what the hell happened? I'm genuinely curious, and I'm concerned about all those people in those countries. And when I heard it, I was like, okay, but what about the planes? How did they land the planes if they didn't have communication? But thankfully, I didn't hear about any accidents. So that's at least good. At least as of now.
So I'm sure most have heard about the Portugal and Spain blackout. Like, shit tons of people have lost power in those two nations. And initially, they thought it may have been a cyber attack. I was thinking maybe it was a coronal mass ejection from the sun that can cause power outages, so decided to look into it. Have you heard what they're saying now? This is interesting. I don't know what the to make of this. So the latest reports are now that a rare atmospheric phenomenon involving extreme temperature variations in the interior of Spain has been identified as a key factor.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme temperature variations in the interior of Spain. Portuguese grid operator REN has stated that these temperature variations have caused an anomalous oscillation in high voltage lines, disrupting the electrical system and leading to cascading disconnections and failures. Extreme temperature variations causing anomalous oscillations in high voltage lines. I'm sorry, this sounds shady as fuck.
Right.
Like there's something else going on. No idea what. I don't dare even assume what the this could be. Drones, aliens, electromagnetic problems with the earth and stuff. Who knows? But it's looking interesting. Maybe it's part of the shift. So I just wanted to share because I find that fascinating. So.
Well, I guess they just needed to give people some kind of explanation because everybody's asking about this. Everybody wants to know what the hell happened. So they came up with something shady. I don't know. What do you think, guys? What do you think happened here? What do you think about those prophecies? Are you scared? I'm a bit scared, to be honest with you, after watching all of these videos. Yeah, not fun, right? But let's hope for the best. I guess we've lived through harder times, so we'll get through this. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.